G'day guys and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we will be going through my round 10 AFL tips and predictions. As well as that, we will be going through last week's tips to see how I did in the round 9 tipping. Sorry if I do sound a bit different in this video, I currently have COVID, so yeah, just trying to rest up as much as possible, but yeah, got to get out the weekly tips. So here we are today. We'll go through my round 9 tips, see how I did last week, and then we'll get into the round 10 tips. So if you guys do go in to enjoy, leave a like and also join the tipping comp. So for the round 9 tips, I got a total of 6 out of 9 tips correct. Considering that the past couple of weeks haven't been too great, I'm definitely going to be taking 6 out of 9 tips correct. I remember the first 4 rounds of this year were all 6 out of 9 correct, so I'm going to be taking that, as yeah, the past few weeks haven't been great, but this week we need to get back on track. We need to actually take time and think into the tips. So it started off with Collingwood and the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium. Friday night footy, I tipped Collingwood to get it done by 11 points, and obviously the Dogs thumped the Pies by 48 points was the final margin. So yeah, a really poor way to start off the tipping for round 9. I thought that I really couldn't put much trust into the Dogs. Seems as though their poor form has sort of been trailing behind them for the past 4 to 5 weeks. So didn't really see the Dogs living up to the expectations, but they certainly did. And the Pies, couple pretty shocking losses in a row against Richmond and the Dogs. So yeah, I'm not sure where it is now for them. Yeah, I feel like they're only going to be able to win against some pretty shocking sides now, the Pies, so I think their season is done and dusted. Then we head over to the MCG for Saturday Arvo footy between the Hawthorn Hawks and the Tigers. And for this one, I tipped Richmond to get it done by 26, and they got it done by 23. So 3 points off the final margin. I'll definitely be taking this. I was tempted to tip the Hawks. This was a very high-scoring game. I thought it was going to be maybe a little bit closer. I wasn't sure how much to tip Richmond by in last week's tipping video. All I know is that they've had some thrilling games in the past between Hawthorn and Richmond, so didn't know if it was going to be close, and Hawthorn seemed to have a pretty decent history against Richmond, so I wasn't sure if the Hawks were going to get up, but after their loss against Essendon in round 8, I thought not a chance they're going to get up against the Tigers, so tip Richmond by 26, and they got it done by 23, so yeah, first tip of the round correct was that game. Then we head over to Blundstone Arena to see North Melbourne take on Port Adelaide. Tipped Port Adelaide to get it done by 19 points, and they got it done by 69, so 50 points off the final margin. And I never really saw North having a chance. You know, it was played at Blundstone. That's pretty much the only positive upside they had coming into this game. But apart from that, you know, Port Adelaide, they're on fire at the moment. I think they're 4 or 5 games now in a row. They've got it done, so who knows? Maybe look out for them. I think they're sitting around 10th on the ladder, so finals could be back in the word for the Power, but yeah, they're going to need to prove some pretty impressive wins over some pretty impressive sides. Then we head over to Marvel Stadium to see St Kilda and Geelong, and I tipped the Cats to get this done. Pretty disappointing. I feel like if I put some time and effort into this tip, I probably would have got this right, but you know, you can't really say much anymore. The excuses are out the bag, so I tipped Geelong to get it done by a 4-goal margin. 24 points I tipped them by, and they lost by 10 points. So credit to the Saints, had some pretty accurate kicking. The Cats not so much. And yeah, the Saints, once again, sort of needed to get a win on the board because they were looking a bit iffy for the past couple of weeks, and they got it done against a pretty strong Cats side. So yeah, credit to the Saints, however, got that tip incorrect. Then we head over to the SCG for Saturday night footy. We had the Swans and the Bombers. I ended up tipping Sydney to get it done by 5 points, and they got it done by 58. These teams have had some pretty thrilling games in the past. You know, they've all been like under 10 points. Maybe they're like past 3 games, so I thought could be another thriller. But Sydney kicking 14 goals, 21 behinds, and Essendon kicking 6 goals, 11. So very inaccurate game of footy to say the least. However, got my tip correct. That's pretty much all that matters. Doesn't really matter about the margin because on ESPN footy tips just matters about the team that you pick. So tipped them to get it done by 5 points, the Swans, and they got it done by 58. So yeah, another tip correct, which is good. And then the last game on the Saturday, it was Adelaide and Brisbane at Adelaide Oval. I I tipped Brisbane to get it done by 44. They got it done by 36. Moving on to the Sunday games now, we have Gold Coast and Fremantle at Metricon Stadium. I did tip the Dockers to get it done by a 15-point margin, and the Suns, you know, it's actually a decently difficult road trip to go to Metricon and face the Suns. Melbourne only won against them by 11 points there in round 2 or so. So, yeah, the Dockers, I don't feel like you can't just write off the Dockers straight away. Like, if we won, we would have stayed third. If we lost, then we would have stayed third either. So, yeah, disappointing game, very disappointing game. We lost by 36 points. You know, every team has that one crappy game that they have in, like, during the year. So, yeah, tipped the Dockers to get it done by 15, and we lost by 36 points against Gold Coast. So, disappointing game, but yeah, we should be able to bounce back. Second last game of the round, Leon Cameron's last game coaching the GWS Giants. It was the Giants taking on the Blues at Giants Stadium. I tipped Carlton to get it done by a 7-point margin, and they got it done by a 30-point margin. So, yeah, the Giants not really sending out Leon Cameron in style, getting demolished pretty much by a 5-goal gap, and Carlton looking decently good, you know, travelling to Giants Stadium. They haven't had the best history this year so far, winning games away from home. So yeah, good for the Blues to get a win away from home. And yeah, they're travelling really well at the moment. The Blues sitting in the top 4 currently. Last game of the round, we head to Optus Stadium to see the Eagles and the Melbourne Demons. I tipped the D's to get it done by a 68-point margin. I thought the margin wasn't going to be as high as some of us expected it to be. I tipped them to get it done by 68, they got it done by 74, so I was 1 goal off the correct margin. This year just really isn't their year, so we'll move on to our round 10 tips for the 2022 AFL season. Starting it off at Marvel Stadium, Friday night footy between Carlton and Sydney. Now this one, it's going to be an interesting game. I feel like this is going to be where it's at. I feel like this will be one of the games of the round, and I feel like if it was at the SCG, Sydney would have the upper hand, but being at Marvel Stadium, it makes the contest a lot more even than what it would be if it was played at Sydney's home venue. It's going to be a difficult one to tip because the Swans sometimes play decent at Marvel, but Carlton, they're looking decent at the moment, and it's a really difficult tip because I feel like Sydney are just a little bit of a better side. Carlton sitting 4th, Sydney sitting 5th, and yeah, the last 5 games, Carlton actually have a better record than the Swans. I'm not sure if it's a bit of an upset, it's against the odds. I'm going to go the Blues to get it done, and I'm going to tip them to get it done by a, let's say, a 12-point margin. Moving on to the Saturday matchups, we have Geelong and Port Adelaide at GMHBA Stadium. Geelong, obviously heavy favourites to win this. 1:45 PM bounce down. I'm going to be tipping Geelong. I don't think it'll be a blowout, you know, Geelong and GMHBA. It's a very difficult road trip for Port Adelaide. Not many odds in their favour for this one, let's be honest. Port Adelaide sitting 10th, Geelong sitting 7th. So Geelong having a bit of a up and down win-loss ratio at the moment. We're going to be tipping the Cats to get it done by 21 points. 1:45 PM at Mars Stadium, we have the Western Bulldogs taking on Gold Coast. And I feel like this one's going to be an upset. I'm going to be tipping Gold Coast in an upset. I'll tip Gold Coast to get it done by 9 points. I feel like Gold Coast, they're going to have some confidence after last week's win against the Dockers. And I feel like at Mars Stadium, the Doggies, I said that they played decent there, but then they went ahead and lost against Adelaide at Mars Stadium. So if they're losing against Adelaide there, they can definitely lose against the Suns, so I'll be tipping Gold Coast to get it done by 9 points. Mars Stadium, Saturday Arvo footy. Next game on the Saturday is at 4:35 PM Marvel Stadium, North Melbourne taking on the D's, and these odds have the exact same odds to when West Coast were facing the D's last week. It is $19 North Melbourne to $1.01 towards the D's. I will be tipping the D's, I just don't feel like North Melbourne, you know, they're not really showing anything. Undefeated so far in season 2022. I'll be tipping the D's to get it done. I don't know about a margin. I don't think it'll be that big of a margin. I'm going to tip them to get it done by 37 points. Saturday night footy at Adelaide Oval, we have Adelaide and St Kilda. I feel like this one could be a really interesting matchup. I feel like at Adelaide Oval, St Kilda they actually play alright there, the Saints, and they are favourites going into this game. Adelaide haven't been great. They've lost their last 3 in a row. Saints coming off a win and 2 losses in their last 3 games as well. I feel like the Saints will get it done by a 16-point margin. I feel like it'll be a close game of footy. I feel like it won't be anything below that though. I feel like it'll range between 16 to maybe 30 points. So I feel like it'll be a pretty boring game of footy, but the Saints get a hold of the Crows. And yeah, they'll win, but you never know. Last game on the Saturday, it is Richmond-Essendon, dream time at the G. It is, 7:30 PM bounce down at the G. I'll be tipping probably the Tigers would be a much better option. Richmond, 3 on the trot, so pretty decent ratio for the Tigers at the moment, and they've definitely heavy favourites going into this game as well. So I'll be tipping the Tigers to get it done by 34 points. You know, Essendon got that impressive win over Hawks at Marvel Stadium, but then they just went and got thumped by Sydney at the SCG. I feel like it'll be an interesting game, sort of similar game that happened last year at Perth, dream time at Optus. I feel like it'll be a close game up until 3/4 time, and Richmond will just run away. Moving on to the Sunday games, we have GWS and the Eagles at Giant Stadium. And I'm going to actually tip West Coast in this one. Both teams actually sitting in the bottom 4, and I feel like GWS heavy favourites to win this, like $1.10 to $7. But I feel like surely West Coast, they have to win another game. And I feel like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. And I feel like I can actually see this happening. I can see the Eagles finally winning another game. And I can see them winning against a side like GWS at the moment. Just lost their coach, so I'm not sure who's going to be coaching them for this week. And usually when a team loses their coach, they are not the greatest for like the rest of the year. Leon Cameron, stepping down as the GWS captain will result in an Eagles win. Second last game of the round, we have the Hawks and the Brizzy Lions at UTAS Stadium. I feel like I'm going to actually tip the Hawks in this one. It's a massive upset, you know, Brisbane, outstanding team at the moment, sitting second on the ladder, 32 points, second highest percentage in the league. Hawthorn currently coming off 4 losses in a row, but I feel like, I don't know, UTAS Stadium, I feel like home ground advantage. I'll be tipping the Hawks to get it done by a 27-point margin. Last game of the round, it is Fremantle and Collingwood at Optus Stadium. Fremantle coming off a loss against Gold Coast at Metricon, and the Pies coming off 2 losses in a row, one against Richmond at the G and one against the Dogs last round. Freo heavy favourites going to this game. I wouldn't be quite confident as a Freo fan coming into this one if we played them in Victoria, but I feel like at Optus Stadium, it's a bounce back game. We're in our usual last game on a Sunday time slot, so yeah, we're used to this game, and I feel like we should be able to get it done. I feel like it could be an interesting game though. I'll tip us to get it done by 14 points. Hopefully we can get it done by more though. We can boost that percentage back up, because we did lose a fair chunk of percentage against the Suns. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in my next video.